Welcome to Secrets and Sabotage. Today is going to be an emotional day. We may see Kieran cry because today he's reunited with his brother from another mother.
Hey!
Amos is in the building.
It's good to be here.
Oh,
I can finally stop crying.
Are you going to be okay?
I've got tissue just in case.
He usually has a tissue for other reasons, but today it's what it
He
is.
cries. Every time we bring him up, he gets so emotional every time we bring you up.
I've got pepper sprayed. It's a lie.
It is actually a really hard watch. Actually, it's a weird one because our series was the first one, and we didn't realize how mental we would go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's so to see the step up between 1, 2, and 3 is immense because looking at 3 and comparing it to you guys had it easy. It was.
Yeah,
I'll take your one over theirs.
Do you know what? You say that, but at least they knew what they were coming into.
Yeah, that's true.
We had no idea. I thought I was. When you go into the trailers now, you know it's going to be a big show. When we went into the trailers, I thought I was filming something similar to The Weakest Link. I thought I didn't realize how big the production value was going to be. I knew they were flying us away, but I kind of thought, you know what, it's going to be. I thought it's going to be pretty shit. Like just the concept. I was like, I wanted them to be like. I said to them, "Are you going to tell everyone who the traitors were?" Because I thought it was going to be like a murder mystery kind of thing.
Yeah.
But then I realized the show is basically just watching us go mental. That is essentially the show. The show is watching people have mental breakdowns and feeling better than them because you're not having one. And like I have people telling me like when they watch the show, it's like, it's so obvious. I was like, yeah, because you've got 25 cameras showing you all the not
everyone
cameras.
says that, and it is when I watch it now, especially knowing that you guys don't know, because I was the same. I remember watching season 1. Going, how can you not tell it's them? And you try and get into your mind frame of going, well, they don't know.
You're living it. You're living
You
it.
really have no clue. Then you start looking at little tells, and we can see them. And it's so for a viewer, it's great. But for you guys being stuck in there,
I always say to people, imagine all the things that people say about you that you don't know about, right? Do you have any emotional output about it? No, because you don't know about it, right? It's like that in the show. Like people, you've got friends in your life. You have people in your life who don't like you, but you think they're your friends, right?
that's a horrible way to find out.
Yeah. But it's like that. Like it's like a game of life, but people are really good at hiding their intentions. And when you're living a game, so like if you're playing like a 2-hour game where someone's lying to you, it's fine. But we just were living, and people were just lying about the fact that we're traitors or not. Like some people were lying about who they are, but very small amounts. And then, like when the camera's not there, you're talking to people about their families, their friends, what they do in their spare time, and they're just lying about the one aspect of a game that you kind of get forced into, so it doesn't feel real.
Yeah, I think for watching it back as well, in season 1, you see all the comments going, how can you not see it? You read between the lines. It used to grate me a little bit. Now I'm in a really good position where I can just sit back, watch it, and let them still think that they're absolute masterminds. Because whatever, like I think Claudia said it as well last night. She was like, it's easy when you're at home watching it through the screens, but come into the castle, sit in that environment, and then do it, and then come and have a chat with us, because it's a very different scenario.
It's also weird because a lot of times you also have to be aware of how other people are going to be viewing you in a game. So you're playing a game, but it's like you're also tried in a. I agree with you, actually. This series is slightly harder in a different way because now you know people are going to be judging you for your decisions. When we were doing the show, I didn't know people were going to have strong opinions about me based on what I do, right?
Yeah.
If you go on that show and you do something terrible, you could ruin your life now. Like genuinely, you could ruin your life. And back when we did it, we had that little bit of innocence, which helped us a little bit, but also damages us because we took the game way too seriously. Now people just kind of play it as a game, right?
Yeah.
When I went on the show, right, I was thinking about, I couldn't be a traitor because that would ruin my career. Like to be seen as a doctor.
I thought that I feel that as well.
I'm a youngish man. If I'm going on TV and I lie for money,
Yeah.
if no one's ever going to trust me, is it like what, like, and I'm seen as a good liar for money, like lying to old ladies.
There'd
like,
always be a question mark.
Oh yeah, and it's not my character either. I don't want to lie for money. It's not,
that's the worst thing to be. Would be a good liar, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. I felt the same thing when I used to like even in our series. I just feel like people will look at you a bit wonky-eyed, like just a bit like, I've seen you lie to someone's face that likes you as a person.
Well, you had Kaz in this season, didn't you? Where you got similarities between Howard Shipman and it's not what you want as a doctor.
Don't want that, but also I don't
kill him by night. She was died.
As a doctor, that's
I actually
the worst review.
Probably not the best.
Yeah, and also I don't think maybe I'm just chatting shit. Maybe next year there'll be a really good nurse or doctor who's a traitor. But I just don't think we would make a good traitor. I don't think we like one. I don't think it's that deep. Like they use words like murder and stuff like that, or like banished, and you're just like, they're just in a hotel room. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
you could have seen the twist this year as well with Lisa. Like if she would have been made a traitor because she's a priest, obviously that would have been a really interesting turn of events. But we didn't get to see that, unfortunately.
Yeah, I do. I find that. Yeah, that's an interesting thing.
A notch up, yeah.
Yeah, this is the point, man. The whole point of the show is human nature, right?
Yeah.
You get to see human nature, bonds. Like, the thing that people don't realize as well is that if you're playing the game, right, you generally just want to be friends with the traitors. Like if you want to survive long enough, you just have to be liked by one of the traitors, because then they'll back you. Like,
well, I thought that, but this season was a little bit different because there was a lot. This season was a lot more tactical, and the traitors played a excellent game this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think because they had the education of season 1 and 2, because I don't think you could have played a game in season 1 because no one had a clue what was going on.
Yeah.
Season 2. You know, people like Paul came in with a game plan, and he came in with this big old character that didn't really like. Harry played a good game in season.
You can't be a strong character. Like, it's a really thing to say. Like, I love the winners in our first series. Hannah's an amazing and strong character. Aaron again wasn't. It was a big character, but not really big. Like, you can't be strong. Like, if you're smart, you're gone.
Yeah, you say that Mina on this season was very smart and lasted till very nearly.
But she was a traitor.
She was a traitor.
So if you're smart and you're a traitor, you're cleaning up, because if you're actually smart and a traitor, you're not. You genuinely don't have to look for a traitor.
Yeah.
So you spend the majority of your time trying to confuse everyone. And if you dedicate your mind to doing that, and you're free of worrying about being murdered, you will get far. Like, smart, like you will eventually get the if I had my time again, I was a traitor, I think I would have got quite far, because you genuinely can. If the traitors don't snake each other, there's a point where they just clear out the team. This is
the biggest problem. I think now, as the show's evolved, the only threat you've got if you're a traitor is another traitor. I would say. Yeah. And we said it a couple of episodes ago, but we called it an all-women cast this year. But Mina would have done that sisterhood and would have went through. I think if she trusted, I think
she would have as well.
I still think, as a combination, if two people were trades, you had a game plan. The light's going to shine on you at some point.
Yeah.
It's when it does come on top, how you deal with it and who you've got in your pack. You said a moment ago, you do need faithfuls around you as a team, but eventually you are going to have to look at murdering them or recruiting them. So if those later episodes with Mina, she played the flawless game, but eventually, when it did come on top, she didn't have enough numbers to survive, and obviously Charlotte put in the final knife. So we'll see.
She played it really well. You say about being a good liar. Someone who was an absolutely shocking liar in this season was Freddie.
Freddie, bless him. Yeah, similar journey.
It was
to me. Yeah, you got recruited last minute, and if you don't want to be a lion, you don't want to do it. Yeah.
But the way he got recruited was very, very different because I don't think Wilf knew he was going to do that until it happened. Where Charlotte had planned that whole thing she had all the information and she was ready to set him up for that big fall, which kind of worked. And if Leanne had kept that to herself about the Shield and brought up at the round table, then I reckon Charlotte would have got away with that even more. But it's only because she threw out the dice. How it landed is how it landed.
Yeah.
So the little bit of doubt was there. This season definitely seems a lot more psychological than season 4.
Yeah, it's going to get more and more. I think the innocent days are gone, mate. Like the idea that the innocent days are gone. It's becoming brutal. And I think if you keep selecting people who now, the next series is, people know how big the show is now. Everyone who applies will be applying because there's other things they want to get out of being on the show, not just playing the game.
I think that's the same with all reality TV shows.
That's the problem. But for this game, there's a jeopardy in this game because the first week is pretty much like random killings, like so you can dedicate your whole thing and you're out in day one, right? And 22 people are on that show. How many people were remembered?
Yeah. Even watching the final season 3, and they showed you who got murdered and banished along the way in order, and I literally thought, oh, I forgot about that person. Yeah. Oh yeah, they were in it. One of them, I was like, weren't he in season 2? I literally couldn't remember exactly everyone.
And that is the case now. I think even from out of 22, there's probably about 8 or 9 characters that will be remembered for various reasons.
Not everyone's going to make it. Not everyone's going to make it. But
what is making it? Like, it's one of those things where I actually think the best, and I think they've done really well with how they've got people on the show. I went on that show generally for the experience. Yeah. Like, things that have happened afterwards are incredible and great, and I love that. But I would have been at peace, and I still am at peace if nothing came from the show.
Right.
The issue is now it's very hard to go through that because now, like, there's going to be more seasons. The peak is amazing, but when you trough and 6 months, you kind of just old news. You are, for 2 or 3 weeks, you are one of the most famous people in the country. You're genuine, like, you are stopped for pictures.
Yeah.
And you walk into a pub, go, oh my God, that's someone from the thing. And that mentally for a person who hasn't prepared, because fame shouldn't, we talked about this off camera, fame doesn't come free. Like, most people who are famous have a talent, right?
Yeah.
The reality world tells people that they can just exist and be successful. Even the people from Love Island or those shows who have succeeded, they were succeeding beforehand. Like, Molly May had her own successful YouTube channel before she ever went on Love Island. She's just done more of that, right? Yeah. Comedians, like, look at Hannah, crafting her, doing her craft. Actors doing their craft. The days of, and I think that's I exist, therefore I must be, therefore my existence is important, right?
Yeah.
Like, even stuff like presenting, I've done some presenting stuff. That is a talent. That's hard.
Yeah.
Like, talking and actually being someone that people want to listen to, and reading and making it seem like you're talking to someone in the room takes talent. Like, I have had to practice that. You have to practice that, right?
Public speaking is one of the biggest fears amongst people. It's called glossophobia, the fear of public speaking.
Okay.
And there's like a ridiculous stat. The amount of people I've had say to me, your job, I would rather do anything other than your job. And I'm like, I'm on a stage telling you my opinion. And even that, I had a surgeon tell me that my job was the hardest job he'd ever seen.
Do you know what's crazy as well is that, like, so I signed up to an open mic night, not because I think I'm funny, just because I like doing stupid shit. Like, I'm not funny. So, but because I was doing some improv before, and it wasn't because I wanted to be a comedian. It's because it's a muscle, right?
Yeah.
You have to expose yourself to, like, genuinely I've seen really good comedians. I used to go to comedy nights all the time. I lived in Cardiff, so downstairs at the King's Head is there. So I'm there all the time, literally there all the time. And I've seen comedians who are amazing, bomb, bomb hard because they're trying new material, and you have to go through that process of just eking out your work. And the annoying thing is, I actually remember someone like showing, or like, it was when Dave Chappelle had like all that controversy, and they showed his work through sets, and they were like, oh, he's lost it. And I was like, you don't understand what comedy is. Comedy is genuinely honing down phrases, turn of phrases, and being shit until the last moment when you stop being shit.
Yeah.
And I wanted to work that muscle, because once, I actually think there's nothing better than bombing in terms of getting rid of fear.
Oh, I think failure is the best lesson people will never learn from.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because there's a lack of, there is something that you gain from not fearing failure, and it comes from experience of it, right?
Yeah.
Because people think like the linear. So my career after the Traitors is the continuation of what I was doing before. I'm still a doctor. That like the process of doing and becoming good at something is the same. And if you find out that people who have succeeded in other avenues find it easier to go through the troughs, that's why it's a muscle. That's why like I signed up to some nights, because I know I can speak publicly, but can I read a room? Can I be, because when I talk, I'm normally talking.
Pressure.
Yeah, I'm normally talking about stuff I know. So when I'm talking about stuff I know, it's easy. People go, "Oh, how'd you go on TV?" I'm like, I'm chatting shit about things I studied for 7 years. If you ask me a medical question, I know it because I've studied it.
Muscle
right?
memory, yeah.
I like to think that it's weird because hopefully it never gets tested, but I like to, like, there's people that I know who have lost everything. So I know a friend who had a stroke and had to learn how to redo everything, and he's back working. He's amazing, and you see that and you're like, oh, okay, cool. Everyone's capable of that. Like I think
it's a scary thing to go through as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I had a TIA.
Yeah.
And a mini stroke.
Yeah.
And even though it's a mini stroke, I was fine within 24 hours. But that was the longest 24 hours, and it felt like I was trying to learn how to speak again because I couldn't get words out. There are people that ask me questions, and I physically couldn't get my brain to tell my mouth to say words.
Oh, yes.
It's scary.
And hearing people talk and then learning to say the words, then you wake up in the morning and it's past. But that day was horrible because you think, this is my livelihood. I have to be able to talk.
Yeah. This is what I mean. Like, it's like breaking your hand and being a surgeon. That's why, like, when you talk about the Traitors, right? It is, and I've listened to your podcast. To me, it's a trauma, man. Like, it's like a big life.
You always say that. Yeah.
I say it all the time because people don't realize. Like, loads of people go, "It's the best thing that's happened in my life." I'm like, people that ask me, I'm like,
Well, you made a good point earlier. I think Zach referred to it as well when we had him on. You're quite right. For us, it's a bit different. We're a bit of a slow burn. We've been out sometimes before, and we've had queues of people waiting for photos from us. Just going into the pub, literally, like, absolutely bombarded with photos. We went out the other day, which is lovely. But like Zach said the other day, after the 3 months, it does disappear, and it's like, how do they deal with that stopping? Do they want more of it? How do you deal with that?
It's dopamine, man. Our brains. I honestly. That's the reason why I try and keep myself as steady as possible, because I do think that I worry about. I message all the cast. I message them every time, like every day, and it's never like, "Yo," I don't post much about the Traitors. I don't talk about the Traitors. Like for me, it's like, I know that you're gonna go to get this dopamine high. You, like I said, for a month, you are one of the most famous people in the country. Yeah. That dopamine spike, and you get yourself on this conveyor belt where you're chasing. That's why for some people, they choose infamy over, like, people prefer infamy rather than being forgotten.
Yeah.
And I think that's because there's no solid foundation there, right? Because everyone thinks that the main character are in their own story, right?
Yeah.
And so when you get this, you're like, finally, I'm getting recognized as the amazing person I am. Like, people should watch me eat breakfast. Like, this is fucking sick. Like this is, like, do you know what I mean? I should be the guy. and that is, it feels like that. I was like, finally, I'm going to conquer the world. And then suddenly, no one gives a fuck.
Reality kicks in.
And that, I feel people need to get training on that. I do think it's an amazing. There's a reason why like these shows have such a bad mental health record, and I mean that in terms you've got a psychologist coming on. I mean that, and especially a psychological game. Like I was very aware in that game, and I think that's because you have a code of conduct as a doctor. You swear an oath of the long-term effects of what I do in that show.
Right.
Like medicine, they tell you that there's something called bringing the practice into disrepute, which is a code, right? If I do something that's so morally objective, even if it's not illegal, that affects my career. Do you know what I mean? Like it's annoying because sometimes it's like the woke police, but like there's some certain things I can't do that other people can do, right?
Like what? Crack.
Not anymore, but like, do you know what I mean? Just it's annoying about crack and cocaine. It's the same thing, but one's for poor people and one's got a higher punishment than the other. It's annoying. But
true story.
Yeah, it's a true story. But like, I can't be a stripper anymore. No, I can't be like I couldn't do that. Like, I couldn't have an OnlyFans anymore. No, I don't. But that kind of stuff, right? It's a moral thing. So I'm aware of that. So when I talk in public, I have to be aware of that, right? Yeah. But a lot of people, the guys on the show, don't realize the things they do on that show will affect them for the rest of their life.
Oh, that is the world. We look at things now, and I think because of the era that we were brought up in, if you like. So I'm from an era where we didn't have social media at all. When I was a teenager, social media weren't there. Like,
you doing your maths and abacus, like
pretty much.
Calling someone from the phone.
What you doing? Was it?
I've done that
all day long.
Did you have to chat to your friends with smoke signals? Like, just
he does with me now, and that's how we communicate.
Oh, you're both. Oh, that's fine.
That's how we text.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, Morse code.
You knew your mate was at a bus stop because he wrote his name on it. That's what we did back then.
Someone said to me when they were at uni, they had to actually be at home to receive calls because they're like, if you weren't at home,
oh yeah, you'd arrange a time to call.
Fucking hell!
And when you was on the internet, you couldn't receive a call as a mate. People don't know how hard it was back then.
Someone said to me, back in the day, if you said you were going to be somewhere and you had to be there at a time,
yeah, because you can
punctual, you can check,
you can check where they were.
I had to be in before it might. Don't go past the last tree at the end of the road and be in before it was dark. Yeah, that was the code.
So but it was even like if you wanted privacy, you'd have to leave your house to go to the phone box to make that phone call.
Wow.
And people, you'd be so polite because you didn't answer the phone in your house. Yeah, that wasn't your job. Like that was your parents' job was screening.
Hi, Mr. Snoobies, Emmanuel there, please.
Yeah, and if I'd be bad, he's not coming to the phone. And then I'd be there, Mum, let me talk to Kieran. And that would be it.
He's not allowed out.
Knock for your mate. So like, you think now, you want to go for a drink with someone, you just text them, I'm free. If I wanted to see, if I wanted to go and hang out with Kieran,
pre-arrange it.
Not even that. I'd have to walk to his house, knock on his door, and hope they're in.
Yeah.
Oh, that's long.
How many times you knock on people's door and they in? It'd be like you do the round down the road and everyone was out.
Everyone was out. Or no,
you go back home. What's the matter, son?
The Bill's not playing out today. They have to walk the whole mile back.
That's why all of you lot got trust issues, man. That's long.
This is the thing. This is why you look at so we knew that everything we did as kids is a rumor. Whereas now, we live in the most documented times ever in history.
You can ruin your life. You can genuinely ruin your life with your phone in your room on the toilet. Yeah. Like you can ruin your life. And like it's mental how much
it's changed
so it's like that's what the traitors. When you talk about people talking to me about the traitors, I'm like, oh yeah, do you know what? It was an experience.
I know a few people still tap into the resources from the psychological side from season one. I know they still check in sometimes and with a psychologist, and they still look at the studio for support. And so some people it has affected, I think, coming out of it.
I think it's good that you can, though.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, there's not rule that you can't, but they're always there if you need them, 100%.
But what I mean is, there's a lot of shows that don't have that. Once you're out, you're out. You fend for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think Trace has to, and I think Trace has to even more now because the game within the game is like, I genuinely think that all of us were in some form of psychosis. Like, you can't be paranoid that whole time, and for days and days and days and days and end, and come out well from it.
Yeah.
Like, even when we came out, like, we still. you don't know who to trust as friends.
I wasn't right. For like I've said it many times. 3 weeks it took me. I was waking.
I was having nightmares.
Yeah, and gameplay.
I was having nightmares. I actually asked my partner. I was like, "Can I go? Is it?" I used to call downstairs reality.
Yeah,
because that's what it was. Upstairs was like reality. Downstairs.
Yeah. And I need to discuss the bromance. So I know how he felt when he lasted 30 seconds, got kicked out of the show straight away. How was that for you? Because you think at that point you didn't know each other. Because you two, that was a big trouble.
That was the moment.
That was the making of your bromance.
Do you know what it is? It's the thing about the Mount Rushmore of the show, right? Whenever the show finishes, that moment is when people were like, "This is the traitors, man. This is like, no matter what, that was within the first 2 minutes. That will always go in the Mount Rushmore of."
How did that feel?
I honestly was in shock at the time, but I think, if I remember correctly, I went to the end and then Kieran followed me afterwards, right? I think at that point I'd realised that I always approached the game the same way, which is whatever happens, happens. I'm not going to take it too seriously. I can't do anything stupid, right? It's a reality TV show. I don't know what they're going to show and what not to. But that was really stupid of me. But like, to go to the end, I remember thinking, fuck, I've just come all the way here for nothing.
Right.
Nothing. And also, I was uniquely aware now that, like, I was like, don't do anything memeable. Like, that's don't do anything memeable. Don't do the Michael Jordan cry face. Don't do anything that the internet can turn into a 2-second gif.
Walking down the driveway and I said, we're going to become a meme, you know?
Yeah.
Like, no, we're fucked.
Don't.
We're absolutely fucked.
Be boring. Don't say anything. Don't say anything. Don't go, what the fuck? Don't say anything.
And I just remember just thinking, jumping like weeks or days ahead, thinking like, how am I going to deal with knowing my friends and my work colleagues and stuff, just knowing how I'm going to get apps. It's going to haunt me
because we knew it was big. The thing about that people don't realize is that in that moment, after getting off the train, when we got there, we realized how big the show was going to be, because we saw the castle, we saw how many cameras were set up, how many people were there, and how, like...
And we didn't know it was Claudia.
We didn't know it was Claudia either. We didn't know it was
our first season, we knew it was a big female presenter, but we had no idea.
I didn't even know it was female. I didn't know it was female. I actually thought it was going to be... I didn't know who was...
I was told it was female, so
I thought it's going to be a big presenter. I didn't know who it was going to be.
And then Claudia walked out from the thingy, and we were like, it was like you said,
so that reaction was real then.
I thought it was going to be Darren Brown. I genuinely thought that makes sense. Like, it's the kind of like psychological theory that Darren Brown would be doing. That's what I thought. I didn't know it was going to be female.
Yeah.
But that was the moment I was like, oh fuck. And like, this is a big show. Like, they've got drones following us. Like, this is a big show, and you saw how, like, the production value in it.
Yeah.
And then
it was like the peak of excitement.
Yeah, and then it was like, oh, all right, wow, it's done. And I thought it was done, and we left. Mental.
Remember sitting in the car, we were just basically like. It's such a surreal experience. I remember sitting in the car, both of us, like naughty school children, just with our head down, just both thinking about how we're going to deal with this.
Like, all right, at least I'm going home now. That was it.
I was like, oh no, and you just silence when it in the car for us, for like just sitting there going, fuck, what have I done? What an idiot.
What an idiot.
Yeah, but really, like I've said it a few times, that in that moment of complete and utter devastation was actually the beginning of our journey.
Yeah.
Actually, it's the start of our journey.
Have you watched your season back?
Once.
How was that?
I only watched it once on purpose because I didn't want it to rewrite my memories.
Okay.
When you see, like
I love that.
Doesn't it? Wouldn't have done that a little bit because you're not in control of the edit.
Exactly. But I don't want it to rewrite my memories. I remember how people were, not how they were portrayed.
Right. Okay.
Right. There's a few people who got a nice edit or bad edit who I didn't remember like that, and I didn't want that to dictate how I felt about them or the show. Like, I like my memories from the show. I like even though I call it a trauma, I like the bits that were off camera. I like when we were sat in the tent before the task and joking around. I like those moments which were like the bits I remember that I love to remember aren't ones that were caught on camera. So I don't want the bits the camera to take over those memories.
Yeah, okay.
I've watched it, and I watched it when it was out, and I remember thinking, this is a good show. I remember thinking, oh, this is they've done so well here.
Yeah.
And there was an element of, I like the people that were a part of the show, so I wanted it to be successful. Not just the cast, like the people in the castle, like all the runners, everyone that was involved in it. And so that was, for me, like the reason why I watched it. That was really nice.
Say the memories as well, when we had the dinner party and we all got dressed up, and there's a photo of us, or a photo of Annie, obviously the bit in the episode where we're all on the gravel looking across to the trees, the hill and that, and there's always our backs there, having a photo of each other, all dressed up, and that was like a little let out. So we've gone quite far in it, but that for a moment was a really good memory. There's a scene that me and you had at the fireplace before you got the kiss of death. We had a real good one-to-one. We're saying both are saying, well, one of us might be killed tonight. That didn't make, unfortunately.
And I don't want to see that, because I know that was my episode. Yeah. And I know
we sat there, didn't we? And we had a plan. We sat there talking for a minute ago. What would happen to scenario? But that unfortunately didn't make the cut. Which was gutted about that one.
How did you feel when you watched it back and you saw your brother?
Oh, that was hard.
Crying.
That was actually hard. That was the hardest bit. That actually, no, genuinely.
You're so much nicer than me. I'd have been on the phone to you straight away. Oh, wanker.
Oh, I do that after.
No. I was
when you know I'm not dead, right?
Yeah. I was like, yo. I was like, mate, I was back home drinking cocktails. What the fuck wrong with you? It was hard. Do you know why it was hard? It wasn't hard because, obviously, I know Kieran now, and we're good friends. We're good friends, and Andrew. It was hard because people were really affected by the game. It's one of the weirdest things for me that, like, people that have not done reality TV, and I used to be that dickhead. I used to be always like, shut up, you've known them for like a day, grow up. How can you be in love? Shut up, you idiot. Yeah. But it is unbelievable. It's like how quickly you can bond. Like, it's human nature. Like, you're on a traumatic experience. Yeah. Your family's not with you. No one you care about is around you. You form alliances, and those replace your family. Like they're like blood bonds. Like you. Like that's why people hate it when people genuinely hide the fact there's someone else there that they know. So, like, if you've got a relationship with someone. Yeah. You've got something that someone doesn't have, someone they can fully trust, right? Like, so when you find the people that you can trust, right? I'm not talking about the trade stuff, but like just like you can tell stuff about. That's why when like the people, Alex and Tom were like in a relationship, people got so angry about it, because they weren't angry about the fact they were angry they hid it, because no one else had that emotional comfort. Yeah. No one else had that like person that they can look to when they were anxious, because you can talk to your family because you were away from them. You can talk to your friends. No one that knew you. So having a deep romantic relationship that was there was such an advantage for your emotional well-being.
That's how I describe our relationship, really.
Yeah. Yeah. We're getting married next time. If you look at all of the shows, and I've seen bits of this season, I've seen bits last year, none of the personal stuff makes the edit, really. Only the gameplay makes the edit, right? So you don't get to find out about... That's why it's a good launchpad for people, because people are curious about the characters of the people that do it. But if you're not talking game, there was people that in our series, we were trying to get like a viral bit or do stuff like that. But if it's not about the game, it's not making the edit. Like, no one cares about your dog. Like, do you
oh my, or what is? We all said, if you're going on a lie, you're always going to be. Well, you said like this year, Charlotte going in, going in with a Welsh accent. Fair play to that woman for keeping it.
Do you know what? She was right though. 100%. She was 100% right, because she went in there to be more trusted, and she was.
Do you know what she said? It's an interesting point. I saw it on the she was talking about it. She went, the reason I'd done the Welsh accent was because I would think before I would speak, so she knows she has to say the accent. So
that's very clever.
It's when you think about it, it's fucking genius, mate. Because she knows she's got to think in talking.
That's a lot to do.
No, I know, but it would stop her reacting to something, because she has to reset and get into character. So I do
the same thing if you ever get heckled. The best advice I tell people: take a deep breath before you say anything. And that's all she's done there, is take that second to formulate an answer. Because I tell you, it fucked Freddie when Leanne said to him, "Did you know about my shield?" And he was,
He just got caught.
Like, he got deer in the headlight, and he'd already said, "I'm a terrible liar."
Yeah, I think when you get made a traitor, like for me, when you become a faithful servant, I think, don't know whether you would have adapted to it or not, but for that, when you've been that,
I honestly have thought about this, and I think if I was a traitor from the start,
yeah, I said that.
I think I would have dominated that game, and I mean that. If I like, because essentially all you're lying about is one thing about you.
Well, as long as you kept me until the end, I'll be all right.
Yeah, it's essentially you're lying about one thing about your personality.
Do you think there's a moral way to be a traitor from the beginning?
I think if it's
and so the thing that you said that's really interested me as a doctor, you don't want to be seen as a good liar. So is there a moral way that you can maintain that integrity and still play the game, do you think?
Okay, well, the truth of it is, if it is, the problem with the traitors is it blurs the line between reality and a game. If it's a game, no one looks at you bad when you bluff in poker. No, like if you're playing a game of poker, no one goes, "You're a liar. You lied. You pretend to your hand. You good." But that's the game. That's the game. But
that's
the trait
actually exactly how I played.
Yeah.
I'm going to see the threats. He got a flick knife out last night. He was like that with a taser underneath the table last night.
Tell me what you got. No, but like, and I think as it morphs into it's just a game. It's just a game. It's just a game. That's fine. But the problem with the traitors is that even for the audience, they like characters and they like people and they read
gravitate, don't they?
Yeah, and they read things into choices which aren't always there. Like they read sexism or they read like racism into choices that people make, which are just random. Do you see what I mean? So in a game like The Traitors, you can pretend it's just a game, but there's enough people who will moralize your behavior.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? Like you can always say, look, it's just a game, but because there are people crying and generally upset, and there's like when you lose a hand of poker, right? The only thing that hurts you is your wallet, right? You're not unless, but when
you got to go casino with me, I'm flipping tables.
But when they're zooming in on like Andrew crying, like it's very hard for the audience to see it as just a game. It's a great premise of a show. It is honestly ingenious because the show is for the audience. I have to separate myself as being someone that's been on the show.
Yeah.
Because everyone will see what they want to see in the people in that show, right?
Yeah.
I have to remind myself that no one really knows me from that show, right? But if you're in a weird place about a certain group of people or a certain place, the casting's always amazing. It's amazingly diverse. You read into their behavior or what you want to, and it's a very good way of shining a light on how the people look, right? I remember speaking to one of the traitors and he was saying like, we were really conscious about killing certain people off because we didn't want that to look bad on why we were doing that, right?
Yeah.
Maybe ageism, so someone find it hard to do a task and stuff like that, or racism. Like I look at the demographic of finalists in that show and I'm like, oh, it's very homogenous. Like there's not many different people that get to the last round. Like it is very people that can go under the radar.
Yeah.
If you have any defining feature that makes you stick out, you're not getting to the final. I mean, besides Meryl, and she was very quiet, it's very hard to get to the final of that show.
For whatever moral compass reason, wouldn't vote for certain people. Because someone like Meryl like sailed through.
She was. I feel bad for Meryl because she was a great character. They didn't
fantastic.
show as much.
Yeah,
she was a really funny character. Yeah. There was really amazing moments that they make time for. That's another reason why. Like she's not featured as much. I just remember laughing so much at stuff she said. like I remember them like the Red Bull stuff. Like
Red Bull band, yeah.
The Red Bull
Meryl. That's how I know.
Oh my God, she honestly, it was. And that's what I mean. Like those little trinkets. Like
you know what? If I was a traitor, I'd flip a coin. I would actually murder people randomly.
Yeah,
let fate decide.
Yeah, at least then, you think even from a viewer point of view, my conscience is clear. It's going to be. I'd find a way to make it completely random and then just see. Because I think that would be interesting because it's like, you ever tried to play chess against someone who doesn't know how to play chess?
Oh.
You can't figure out what they're doing.
Yeah.
So I think as a traitor, if you left it completely random and then just see where the chips fall, the faithfuls wouldn't be able to figure it out because there's no rhyme or reason as to why that person was gone.
They can't. The selection of the traitors is very important because they can't cast too good traitors.
No, we've seen that this year. I think
you can't cast people who would make good traitors. You have to cast people who would make bad traitors. And I'm not saying bad traitors as in they're not good at lying.
May make some slip-ups. Yeah.
May make some slip-ups or view being a traitor differently to how it is, because there is a nuance of being a traitor, which I've never experienced, but I imagine just from how the filming went, is really hard days, really like keeping a secret from people. If you have any form of empathy, which I believe the majority of people do, being a traitor is really hard.
Yeah.
Because you have to live with the consequences of your actions daily. And no matter how much you tell yourself, it's a game. The fact that other people aren't taking it as a game. Because there I would say it's a bit like the Stanford prison experiment. You arbitrarily put people in groups, and even someone who has no empathy, when they're put in the victim group, which is the faithfuls, seeks empathy. So everyone who's a faithful is pleading for survival subconsciously to the traitors.
Yeah.
And you're the decider, right? And so human beings aren't designed but you have to dehumanize people to be able to do things like that to them, right? You actually, it's the reason why rhetoric is important. So when you talk about people or groups of people as animals or like they're pigs and stuff like that, you can do anything you want to a rat, right?
Yeah.
You can do what you want to a rat. It's very hard to do to like Sharon, your mate. And so that's why the language of the show is murdered and banished. You don't say killed, you say murdered. Killed could be they got hit by a bus.
Yeah.
Murdered means someone has done that to them.
Yeah.
And so the anger, the emotions are very real. Your body doesn't. When we have primate brains. Acting like we don't have primate brains is crazy. We have primate brains, so it takes a while for us to logicize our way out of our strong emotions. Act like we are built for survival. Your mate's been murdered.
Natural reaction.
Regardless of whether you have a logical brain, feels like your mate's been murdered. So when I take the piss out of Kieran all the time because that was a move. But but I would have been the same. I'm pretending I wouldn't be the same. I remember like seeing that reaction and feeling emotional because it was like watching my own funeral. Because they literally believed I had died. And they might have known, because you never see them again. When you get banished or murdered, you just disappear. You don't see them ever again until you meet them for drinks a week later, and it's all. but so you feel it's all a lie. But like you feel like they've been murdered, and that's the beauty. So when you go on stuff like Love Island, right? They call it Love Island for a reason. That's why everyone fucking falls in love like within 2 weeks. Yeah, do you know what I mean? That's the premise of the show. So yeah, people have been murdered. It feels like they've been murdered. I think back on whether my experience, the idea is, was it worth it? And I think the answer is yes, because of the people and the connections I've made. Not the things that have come afterwards. It's the fact that if I've had a traumatic experience, I genuinely can text Kieran. Like it's not like a fake thing. It's not. And there's very few experiences as an adult where you leave with adult long. Men are weird, man. My best friends are the same people that I was friends with when I was 11. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, snap.
Yeah. Like we there's very few experiences as a man where you can make friends that you genuinely feel that you can trust with your life. So that for me has made it worth it, because like when you ever get that situation, I think only times that happens is like people that go to like war zones together, armies, like firemen, people that have actually been in situations where they need to trust that guy with their life, basically, right? And traitors essentially was a bit of a very low degree version of that, because it made it feel very real, and that's why I think it's worth it for me.
It's been an absolute pleasure getting you on.
Yeah,
so much fun. I'm really glad I got to see this. Now I get the emotion. Now I don't want you to go. I'm
only going next door, man. It's all right. It's all right, man. It's all right. It's all good.
Thanks, brother.
It's been a pleasure, mate.
Legend.